Okay, so here's the big topic on here. So we talked about Clay returning. Let's compare that to Kyrie returning, especially with KD now out for 6 weeks potentially. Like I already wrote down Kyrie return on the topic list because like obviously we gotta talk about that. And then like a couple days before I was headed up here, like KD got injured, and I was like, all right, well now I gotta tack that onto the Kyrie return.
Yeah. Um, Crazy that New York's like changing it up so much so that Kyrie can return. I truly thought they were gonna trade him, but I had heard that also that if he were traded, he would have just retired flat out. So it's just like this
Yeah.
one asset that only you can use. Yet he doesn't want to play because of all the vaccine mandates.
Yeah. Well, not to get like huge into like the politics of it, obviously, but New York is big and huge for business because it's a port city. So, a lot of exports and imports and all that kind of stuff. But on top of that, with being in the 21st century, a massive amount of their money also comes from sports. The New York Yankees, the New York Mets, the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Knicks. Did I say the Knicks already or Yankees?
Yankees,
Yeah, the
Giants,
Knicks,
Jets.
yeah, Giants, Jets. So with Kyrie not playing, even no matter what side of the fence you fall on with the whole COVID thing. And speaking of which, if I haven't mentioned this already, anybody wondering about like us meeting up in person with the whole COVID stuff, we both have a negative test, so we're fine. Um, but what was I saying? Oh yeah, a lot of New York's economy comes from sports, so they kind of had to bend the rules a little bit for Kyrie, so that you know people start buying more tickets, and
More money to the city of New York, state of New York.
yeah, and so and then a couple days after they made him part time, there was also the thing that came out that was like he could be full time if the Nets pay the fine. So there's a whole thing about that as well. So what do you think about that?
Paying
Like, will they pay it? Is it worth it? Like, etc.
I mean, obviously Kyrie has talent, but the fact that Brooklyn is paying him a salary to play basketball, and then paying for him, paying the league to use him is like, come on, what is going on?
I think they'll pay the fine, especially with KD injured. Especially if they get into the playoffs, they'll get into the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like how much they need him in the playoffs. Like because obviously in the playoffs you're gonna have home games,